If you have any questions, you can type them into the comments, and I'll go ahead and um, answer all questions at the very end. But my hope is that everything I put together in the presentation is comprehensive enough to quell anything that we have, because we are now officially, whew, we are well under a month away from the trip. So welcome everybody. If you've never seen me before, I'm Mr. Westfall. Uh, I'm so excited for this Boston trip this summer. It's the first time I've been to Boston, but this trip is going to be extraordinary. It is so packed with so much stuff to do that everyone's going to be exhausted no matter what at the end of the night and at the end of the trip. So, um, so if you look at the logos, I was able to find MIT, the Red Sox, and Faneuil Park or Hall, all places that we're going to be going, which is fantastic. Okay, so here is our itinerary. I know I've sent it out for different things, but just to go over it, we have the earliest time I've ever had to do one of these trips. Our flight's at 7:05, which means we have to be at the airport at 5:05 a.m. And that means we are going to be at Rushing Middle School no later than 3:45 a.m. to depart at 4:30, because this time around, compared to other trips, we are leaving out of DFW Airport. Now, we did secure a shuttle bus, which is great. We have a charter bus that is going to pick us up. They will be there at 3:45 at Rushing Middle School. And in doing so, they're going to pick us up. We are going to leave Rushing Middle School at 4:30. That is super early for most. That usually is only 15 minutes earlier than what I usually wake up. So yay for that. Um, we will land, if everything goes accordingly, at 11:45 a.m. We've had a change in the schedule because we have our program guide, and he informed World Strides that on Sundays, Faneuil Hall is closed at 6 p.m., which that's where we were supposed to eat dinner and do all sorts of stuff and have time to do some history touring. So we've kind of switched that up. We're going to start off at Faneuil Hall, and everyone's going to be given a voucher to have locations where they can eat, and they'll be given allotment for that. And it's going to be great. There's so many options. Everything that I've looked up, everything World Strides has told me, there's so many options to eat, and I'm just super excited for like Boston food, like lobster roll or clam chowder, all sorts of wonderful food. Um, there, we're going to do a little bit of history. We're going to do the Freedom Trail, different parts of it. We're not going to do the full thing because our Boston Duck Boat tour will be at 4:30, so we'll have enough time to kind of be guided by our World Strides guide, and he'll take us around and show us and talk to us about everything. We'll do that, and then after our Duck Boat tour, we're going to do dinner. This is where our guide's going to give us where we're going to eat. It's changed because lunch will not be at the airport or anything like that. So dinner will be a location that we will determine closer to the day of actually being there, because I know I'm going to talk to the guide probably in the next week, and he'll give me more information about where he will guide us towards food-wise that evening. By that time, it's going to be such an early start that when we get to the hotel, it's going to be around 9:30. Everybody will crash, except for the kids that have Red Bull in their veins. But that's can't control that one. Day 2 is starting off with whale watching tour. I will preface this, and this is going to be, I know I'm going to do this. If you have never been on a boat or been on boats for long periods of time, please make sure you pack for your child some Dramamine, some non-drowsy Dramamine, as well as, or anything that could reduce the effects of nausea. I thought I was a good guy, that I was like, I could handle these kind of boats. No, I can't. So I'm going to have non-drowsy Dramamine for myself. I can't give it to anybody, but if you have it for your child, or if you want me to administer it for your child, just make sure you let me know and you provide it for me, so that way I can give it to them. Or if you have one of those little wristbands or whatever, if you want to get your kid a patch for behind their ear, whatever works for your child. Err on the side of caution, okay? Because my students know me well enough that there's one number one rule with me. I don't do throw up. That is just not me at all. So have that ready. We will have a lunch already prepared for us. That was one of the requests that I asked you guys to fill out on. We'll have that taken care of. And then after lunch, we're going to go to the New England Aquarium, spend a good chunk of time there. Before dinner, which will be pizza, we will have either a little bit of time to do the Freedom Trail, some more walking tour of the Freedom Trail, or a little bit after. I have a question already. Yes, sir. We will start the day off at like breakfast will probably be at like 7 a.m. at the latest, probably 6:30. Usually we get real early starts. And so it is bright and early. Usually breakfast starts at 6. We are out the door, probably getting loaded on the bus by 7, no later than 7:30. After our Freedom Trail, where we get some more experience, Bunker Hill, we are going to see, and the nerd teacher and me, we're going to see the first public school in America. So that's going to be awesome. So we're going to see various different things of history. That'll be awesome for us to all learn about. It's not just science, but it will be stuff that is the essence of how our founding aspects of this country. So that's awesome. That night, after we do some walking around, we're going to tour Fenway Park, do our STEM tour. And it is going to be at nighttime, which is going to be even more amazing. It's one of, in my mind, the two most iconic baseball stadiums in the country, Wrigley Field and Fenway Park. And I've been to one, and now I'm going to be at the second one. So I'm excited. Yay. So that'll be really, really good. That is day 1 and day 2. That is a lot to do already. So, wow. Now let's go to day 3. Day 3 is one of the biggest parts of the science component. It's the reason why I love World Strides and I love traveling with them, because all the other tours, it's just a tour. They have a guide and they take you around and, ooh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Third day, we're going to have MIT graduates and PhD students coming, and they're going to teach the kids about robotics and helicopters and how to program that. So they're going to do that all morning long. So we'll stay at the hotel. They're going to have a convention room booked off for us, and they're going to have a great time learning from these students about how to program helicopters and robotics through the various softwares that they use. We'll have lunch at the hotel. Then we're going to get on our bus, and we're going to go to the Boston Museum of Science, where they're going to do scavenger hunts and do different things while they're there. Should take about 2 hours, hour and a half to 2 hours at the museum. I'm one that likes to stop and look at everything, but we may not have a lot of those. And so we know that the average attention span for most teenage kids does not last long, but we're going to make the most of it. And so we're going to do that. So after the museum, we're going to go to dinner at a place called Pearl Street Station. And then after that is one of the big hits that I've been told is a escape room called Boda-Board. Everybody gets to have fun with that one. That is going to be greatness. I'm going to sit back and watch because I like escape rooms and I think they're fun, and people get mad at me because I'm like, that's the answer. And they're like, you just ruined it for all of us. Thanks. So, but all the kids will be invited to do that. Parents, if you're going, you can join up too. So yay for you. After that, we'll return home. That is actually one of the most critical nights, because this is where it seems like a short turnaround, but that's when they have to come back and pack up, because the next morning we have to put all our luggage on the bus before we leave in the morning. So they'll get everything cleaned up, packed up, everything that they buy at Fenway Park for souvenirs and things like that. And they need to make sure they leave open space, because the next day we go to MIT and we get to do a STEM tour of their campus, which I just looked up the other month, and it is either number 1 or number 2 in the entire world for top colleges, which that just blows my mind. I mean, these are some of the absolute smartest people on earth going to this school, which is mind-boggling. So I'm so excited about that. After we do our tour, we're going to have our lunch from Shake Shack. It's pre-ordered. They'll have it set and ready to go for us. We'll eat. They have an area to eat, or we'll be able to eat in like a courtyard. Right next to it is the Harvard Square Co-op, which we should have time. And we won't be able to tour Harvard, but it is literally going to be there. We may be able to see a handful of things, but if you want to buy some gear at Harvard, I know my wife's already asked. She's like, I would like a Harvard sweater. And I was like, ooh, you never asked for anything. So yay. So that'll be a lot of fun. They'll have time to see that. After we do that, we're going to go to the New England Franklin Park Zoo, and we're going to have a time where they're going to do a little activity that's guided by some of the employees. Do that until about, say 3 o'clock, maybe 4 at the most. Our flight back is at 6:24 p.m., which means we'll be there at 4:24 p.m. I'm a big fan of getting there 2 hours ahead of time, especially with bigger groups, because we will be traveling with kids, and sometimes security doesn't care, and so they disperse kids and do different things. So we have to make sure we give enough time to make sure that we get through security, as well as give the kids time to eat, and that's a big thing. So after that, dinner will be at the airport, and then we will be arriving around, I want to say 9:41 p.m. That's what the itinerary says. Things can change due to weather, and so that is the entirety of the trip. Which, when we land, we still have to get on our charter bus to come back. So realistically, for parents that are not going on the trip and you are going to pick up your kids at Rushing Middle School on that day 4, it will probably be around 10:15 to 10:30ish when we get back, which is not the worst time in the world. I've been through later, but still a late night for those of you who do not hang out with vampires and whatnots and are young whippersnappers that have all the energy in the world. But 10:30 is kind of late for some of us. So that's the itinerary. It's something I emailed you guys back, but it will also be in the slides that I send for PDF tomorrow. That is going to be the next thing I talk about pretty soon. So good question about how do we handle cash or money. Let's talk about packing real quick. So seasonally appropriate clothing. We're not going to be in Texas anymore, and I'm so excited about this. I've already looked at the forecast, and it's not like Texas where, it says it's going to be like this in 2 days, and then Mother Nature just goes weird, and it's going to change completely. No, it's going to be consistent. It's going to be, the high is low 70s. I think the highest I saw was 72 during the daytime. And at night, it's going to be in the mid 50s. So you're going to want to pack a jacket, light jacket. If you're like that person that's super cold and it's 100 degrees out, you're going to want a thick sweater or whatever to make sure you're warm. Wool socks, big poofy pants, whatever, as long as you pack it correctly. Me, I will probably still be wearing a t-shirt and shorts because I radiate so much heat that I literally don't wear most long sleeve shirts or jeans, but I probably will. Make sure your child packs shorts, pants, t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, light jacket, or on the boat, because it does get, as we get out, you get that ocean breeze. So it does get a little bit chilly on the boat. Most importantly, you want to make sure you pack everything that can carry on a carry-on suitcase. We're not checking luggage, and I'm going to go over the dimensions of that in a bit. Comfortable walking shoes. At the boat aboard, you have to wear closed-toed shoes. They will not let Crocs, sandals, Birkenstocks, things like that. You have to wear tennis shoes. I didn't see any rain in the forecast, and if there was, I would recommend bringing 2 pairs of shoes because no one wants to walk in wet shoes the next day. But if it does get closer and I find that there's going to be weather that could be rainy while we're out and about, I would suggest bringing a second pair of shoes, but I'll be letting you guys know about that. But 1 pair really comfortable, because we are going to be on our feet a lot all day long for the entire 4 days. Rain gear, waterproof jacket or a poncho, something light, something easy, because remember, you guys have to carry it. Chaperones and parents that are going, we don't carry your stuff. That's not what I do. I have to carry my stuff. I have to carry documents for everybody, health documents, behavior forms, all that wonderful stuff. So I will not be carrying any of that stuff. And if I have to carry any medicine for lunchtime, or if we're not coming back to the hotel for dinner, then I carry those. So I do not carry people's ponchos and things like that. Sleepwear, that's obvious. Everybody that's in your rooms will wear pajamas of some sort. Toiletries, make sure there's a toothbrush. Please remind your kids for two most important things. Brush your teeth in the morning and at night. Deodorant. Deodorant. Please. Okay, we're going to be really close to each other. I'm very cautious about how I smell, so I will want to make sure everybody wears deodorant and brushes their teeth. Prescription medication. If you absolutely trust your child about their medicine, awesome. We don't have to worry about anything. If you're like, my child forgets to like put a shoe on and walks out the door, if you don't feel comfortable with them taking their medication, make sure you let me know by email that you want me to administer their medicine, and I will need an exact amount of what they take in a prescription container, no more, no less. So, and what time they take it, do they have to take it with food, all the things that I would need to know to make sure that breakfast time they get this medicine, dinner time they get this medicine, they get 2 of this versus that. So if you want me to administer it, just let me know. I've done it every single trip for numerous students that are on the trip. Okay. Worst case scenario, have your kid take a picture of whoever is the parent insurance provider on their phone, so just in case. Okay. We've never had an accident to where we've had to call 911 or take a kid to the hospital or anything like that, but we always want to be prepared. Okay. Hat or sunglasses. If it's bright outside, you want sunglasses outside. A hat if you just are worried about the hair. But if you lose something, that's the number one thing. Anything that you take, you are responsible for. We are not. So if you're like, Mr. Westphal, I left my hat back at the aquarium and we're on the bus already 20 minutes out, we're not going back. Okay. The next one's important. Cell phone. Everybody's going to need something to contact parents, take pictures, to pass some time we're on the bus, or more importantly, really just take pictures. That's going to be the big one. But the portable charger, y'all, portable chargers have gotten really cheap and really good as of late. I'll probably have 3 of them on me just because I have all the time, because batteries die very easily. So make sure you have that for your child. Make sure they have a proper cord to charge it every single night, as well as the outlet that goes in the wall. Your kid can have a small backpack, but again, they're responsible for it. And we also have to be aware that there are going to be locations that they may have to check backpacks or make you check backpacks in. They won't let you carry it in. I don't know. What I'll do is I will check in with the museum, the zoo, and the aquarium to see what their policies are, and I will let you all know about that. Okay. Reusable water bottles, always a good thing, because water is expensive when you buy it around. So just bring a water bottle. I'm going to show you a picture of one that you can buy at Walmart. I have 3 of them now because I thought I'd lose one, and they end up popping back up. They're great. They're compact, and you can go that route. And anywhere you actually see a water fountain or a place that you can fill it up, go for it. If your kid doesn't really use their phone for a watch, or make sure they have a watch. That way we know what time we're supposed to meet, because that's going to be a critical thing. That usually is what holds us up the most, is kids losing track of time. But we're going to do our best to communicate that with one of the apps that we're going to use for absolutely everyone. Okay, that's packing list. Now comes to the money. You really have 3 options. There's the Greenlight debit card, which I know a lot of people use. You can add as much money to you as you want. You can see what your kid's spending their money on. Very easily transferable. That one, if you go that route, does have a monthly fee. Now, if you sign up for it now, I think they give you 1 month for free. So you can sign up for it and then cancel it after the trip if you want. I know for my one child and my child that'll be going on the next trip, they have their own check card that is their own account that parents can see everything they have and everything they do. So you can do it that way as well. It does require you to be 13 to be able to have a checking account and have a check card, but you can do that, or you can do a reloadable Visa card, or if you just want to give your kid cash. Cash is a tough thing though, because you don't want to start flashing cash at locations that we go, and if it gets misplaced, something happens, we can't be held responsible for cash that goes missing. If a debit card goes, you know what? You can always do Apple Pay, check card. Ooh, that's also a thing you can do. If you want your card attached to Apple Pay to your kid's phone, you can always do that as well. That'll still give you access to approve, do different things to make sure that you get to see what they're spending money on. That's a big thing. Kids, a lot of times with this free time that they first time leaving parents, they go a little crazy spending money. And then you start wondering, why did you spend $25 on Cheetos? Just random things like that. But I think the places that we're going to be going are going to be more intriguing to buy souvenirs. Fenway Park, MIT, Harvard, Faneuil Hall, you're going to see stuff that they can buy there. So those are going to be our main things. Now, don't get me wrong. They may see something they really want. And yay, that's whatever you want to let them spend. The average amount of money for souvenirs and extra snacks and whatnot, anywhere from 200 to 250 would be, I think 250 would be an absolute maximum. But to be honest, college stuff and Fenway Park baseball stuff is kind of pricey. So just err on the side of caution. When I tell my kids about stuff, that money that they get with on certain camps that they go to, I say, here's your money. Nothing says you have to spend it all, but it's there if you need it. It's up to you guys how you want to give money to your kids. But usually we recommend 200 to 250 to make sure that if this is the trip that they have been dying to go to, they have all these things that they've wanted to buy. College stuff is expensive. Baseball gear, even if it's like replica stuff, those tend to be expensive. Okay. So however you want to do it, it's up to you. But green light, checking account, or if you just want to tie a debit card or a credit card to your kid's phone, their Apple Pay, majority of the places do Apple Pay these days. Okay. Here's two really good things. One is the water bottle. It's collapsible. It's silicone, and it's very easy to transport. Fills up really well. The other one is for people like me. I have 3 of these in my house already. That is a friction defense. It literally helps chafing because that is a killer. If you've been walking a lot and you're not used to it, you put that on, and man, oh man, that before you go walking, it will save your life. Because if you don't, and you're not used to walking a lot, and you get that that rub burn on the legs, the next day you're going to be walking like a cowboy. And in doing so, you're going to complain a lot, and you're going to be like, I don't want to do this. And you just complain, and it hurts, and it gets worse and worse. So if you're not sure if your kid's going to complain and they don't walk a lot, I would go with that Gold Bond Friction Defense. It is a lifesaver. Anytime I go to Disney World, or if I know I'm walking a lot to do different trips, I use that. Okay, and literally just lather my legs up, and boy howdy, makes life that much more bearable. Okay. Okay. One of our first 2 apps, Photo Circle. It is a wonderful app that I want every parent and every kid to have on their phone. The image looks like that. If you look it up in your Android store or your Apple store, it's called Photo Circle, and it's that logo in the upper right-hand corner. That's what it looks like. That is how we will upload all pictures that we take during the trip. Kids, parents, the chaperones, we will put pictures into that. And what that does is, parents, when you're at home, you'll be able to see all the pictures uploaded as soon as they put it in. And y'all, on last trips that we take, we average around 900 to like 1,500 pictures. Everybody's taking pictures of everything. Now, we do have to err on discretion. We don't need pictures of what's going on inside a student's nose or random things. So please make sure you judge accordingly on the pictures that you take. And for kids as well, we'll tell the kids this on the bus as well. But Photo Circle is the app, and that QR code right there is one that'll get you logged in to the account that I've already set up for this summer's trip. So that way you'll be able to see all the pictures, and at the very end, you can download them, put them into a frame, make sure those memories are there. It's a lot of fun. And I kid you not, you will start. I've had parents tell me that at the end of the night, what they do is they sit down and they just start scrolling through the pictures, and they just start laughing. It's like the greatest thing in the world for them to see, because all the random wackiness that happens on these trips. It's just fantastic to see these kids actually taking the pictures and having the fun. They go a little crazy the first day and a half on the pictures they take. So it's fantastic. Yep, Ms. Kenyon says absolutely 100%. The next one, we've converted from GroupMe to SportsU, which if you're in PISD, everybody's using SportsU. It's the best thing to use. This will actually help us out and make sure that we don't have as much randomness in communication. We would get a lot of kids just all of a sudden lose track of information because you have like 40 billion kids making comments on different random things and they not remember where we're supposed to be. So this will allow the 3 teacher chaperones, and I will have our World Strides guide on this as an administrator. It'll be Miss Briscoe, Miss Walton, and myself as administrators, to where we can post, hey guys, we have 15 minutes. This is where we're meeting. We'll put pictures. We'll do all sorts of stuff. So that way everyone knows where we're meeting at. It's going to be our major form of communication. The 4 of us, the teacher chaperones and its World Strides guide, will have administration rights to where you can contact us, even parents at home. So that way you contact us, we'll be able to respond back through SportsU. So that way if you need something, if you're like, hey, you know, Johnny isn't responding on his phone, can you tell me why is that? Is he okay? And we'll literally look and say, oh, Johnny's passed out because he's been awake since 2 o'clock in the morning and his phone is in his lap, but he is dead to the world. So we'll wake him up and make sure he responds back to you. And so we take care of it that way. But to join on SportsU, the code is 4RWGBATK. So that's the code. Now, if we're going too fast or you don't have it downloaded or you don't have your phone handy with you, remember, I'm going to send this set of slides and the actual whole video that we're recording out tomorrow. So don't worry about that at all, okay? So if you're not catching everything or if I'm a little overboard, do not worry, okay? Okay, so that's a lot of the information about packing, the weather, few little essentials to buy. Here's how the room assignments are going to go. Remember, we do not have boys and girls room in the same rooms together. We have boys in one room, girls in another room, parents in a whole nother set of rooms, and teacher chaperones in a whole nother set of rooms. So room 1 is going to be Miles, Cole, and Keenan. Room 2 is going to be Jeremy, Zach, Cy, and Drew. Room 3 is going to be Andrew, Hudson, and Rushiel. Room 4 is Arav, COVID, and Nathan. And then we happen to have the fewest amount of girls that I've ever seen on a trip. I think because baseball is a dude thing, but you know what? Everyone loves baseball at some time in their life, so it's okay with me. Oshiam, I don't know if I said that correct, but I apologize if I did not say that correct. Isabella and Gabby, the sisters, will be in that same room. Then we have, in our other girl room, we have Mayuka, Callan, Kara, and Nimi in one room. So adult rooms, we have the Pipkins, and then we have, in the second room, we have Robert and Doug. Third room, Olaid and Naveen. Mr. Logan wanted a room for himself, so he had to pay extra for that, but that's okay. He's good like that. And then we have the Roosevelt family. They're all in one room together. So it's a small group of rooms, which is great. It's easier for us to handle because we do nightly checks. And that way in the morning, we only have like maybe 2 rooms per teacher to go knock on doors and say, hey, don't forget to wake up. We're going to be leaving in 15 minutes and you haven't shown up for breakfast. So it's going to make us much easier on this trip because I think only Miss Kenya knows about this. Is like last year with our 80 kids that we had on our last trip, that was a lot of rooms to check. So 6 rooms, this is going to be a cakewalk. And between the fact that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parents going on this trip, we have a lot of adults. So, oh, thanks, Miss Kenyon. I appreciate that. Y'all, we have enough parent support to help us out with this. That this is going to be amazing. We're not going to have any problems I foresee. And with the great weather of Boston, I'm over the moon on this one. It's going to be great. I'm going to go over this just because to make sure parents understand this. Travel behavior and expectations. Language and manners. I'm a very big please and thank you kind of person, and I always appreciate that very much. Um, you'll never hear me swear or use language that could be misconstrued like that. So I'm going to expect the kids to behave in the best possible manner as well, please. If we have a hard time with that, we'll have conversations. I'll call home, things like that. But just please be respectful and make sure you're watching your language and you're saying please and thank you to the people who are serving a lot of people and doing a lot of different things. And a lot of the places that we go to, these folks don't get paid that much. So just be very respectful of them, please. Treat everyone with respect, no fighting, no stealing, and no bullying. Okay, we're not going to mess with kids about you couldn't get this or why aren't you doing that. The last three really can have your kid removed from the trip. That happens, I have to call you to come get a plane ticket to get your kid in Boston and fly back with them. We've never had that happen. I'm not going to say we've never come close, but lots of conversations, a lot of close contact with parents. We've resolved every issue. So we've never had to have anybody removed from the trip. But I always want to say this because I don't want you to have like, oh my gosh, you never told me that we'd have to come get our kids. The big reason is times have changed. We are not in a situation where when I was growing up, a kid could travel by themselves and it'd be easy. I would not feel comfortable, just like I wouldn't feel comfortable if my kid had to fly by themselves unexpectedly. And so make sure you remind your kids that if something does happen that's serious enough that you have to be removed from the trip, a parent will have to fly out to Boston, pick up their kid, and fly home with them. And so that's the only condition. But y'all, it's going to be so busy. We're going to have so much fun. It's Boston, and that's what we're there for, to learn a lot of scientific things and see a lot of history there. Okay, buses are arriving at 3:45 in the morning. For some people, that's super early. It's not that bad. Okay. We'll have your teacher chaperone set up already. We have 2 rooms per each teacher chaperone, so it'll be super easy. I will send that out along with when I send the information about backpack in the 3 different locations that we're going. We'll have our charter bus that's going to take us to the airport at 4:30 a.m. Flight is at 7:05. We are using carry-on suitcases and a backpack if needed. I would recommend that your backpack, if you take one, put it in your suitcase while we're traveling. So that way it's not more things to take care of. We have a lot of kids that their brains aren't not functioning that early in the morning, or they have squirrel kind of process going. So make sure that as much stuff can stay consolidated in one place. We are going to be at an airport, and anything that's left unattended either gets picked up because it's stolen, or 2, security gets really freaked out by unattended actual suitcases. So when we land, take out your backpack. Only the things that you need will go in your backpack as we travel around, because the bus that we get on, the charter bus, once we get to Boston, we'll keep all our gear until we hit the hotel at like 9:30 at night. So you're not going to be able to go into your suitcase or not and do random things. So I'll have a backpack for my stuff and key essential things, but outside of that, all the suitcases will stay underneath the bus locked, and no one will have access to them except for the bus driver. And so here's what your suitcase should look like. And what I did is I looked up American Airlines because that's what we're flying. So, because that's one of the things that I'll tell you in a bit about to do to make sure everything runs smoothly. Make sure things are easily accessible so you're not going in and out of your suitcase, especially when we're on the flight. When we land, all your suitcases are below the bus, but backpacks with you and travel. Total size for a carry-on is 22 inches high by 14 inches long by 9 inches wide. Okay, so the picture right there is exactly the dimensions. If you're not good with inches and you want to use centimeters, I got the conversions for you. 56 by 36 by 23 centimeters. Okay, that's going to be critical because we do not want to check luggage because that just slows down the time. And we actually have had it a couple trips back. No, it was last trip. We had luggage that was lost because it didn't fit in the overhead. So they had to check it in. And We went one way, the suitcases went another way, and poof, they had to wait and file reports and all sorts of stuff. So anything that can be put in those dimensions is a fantastic thing to do. I'm a big fan that when I pack very lightly, so that way I can go ahead and make sure that stuff that I'm buying will fit in there and that my suitcase is not overloaded. Okay. All right. Food. Everything's being provided by World Strides. The only thing that you have to buy if you want is extra snacks. Early morning, try to give your kids some high protein or something that's very filling before we get to the airport. I'm working to see if World Strides will get us breakfast, but since it's so early and we're gonna be landing so much earlier than we've ever been, they're gonna give us a huge allotment for lunch and dinner. One of the things they are doing different this year is they usually give us cash for spending money for food. They're going to give us a card. They're working in conjunction with a company that will give us an actual kind of like a debit card that's preloaded and will release funds at certain times. So that way you get a card and all of a sudden, instead of paying in cash, it's like a gift card that can be that'll be reloaded for a certain week for foods that we do. This works out really well because a lot of locations are going cashless and do not take like just general forms of coins and dollar bills. So this will allow us to say, okay, if I can swipe it, I'm going to eat. Okay. The number one recommendation with that card is if you're like me and you want to hoard your money on food because you want a big meal or something grand, just make a small purchase so it activates it, because what'll happen is World Strides, if the card isn't activated or made a small purchase, it will go ahead and say the card is no longer valid and the funds won't be in there. So it'll be like, hey guys, we're here, buy a small snack or do this real quick so that way you get access to your money. And if you're like, I don't want to eat here, I want to wait and save my money for food over here. Cool. Awesome. Okay. A lot of this stuff will also be said on the bus as we get to different locations. So that way the kids hear it numerous times, because kids tend to not listen the first time. So it usually takes 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So they'll hear it a lot and it'll be good. Next up, we're pretty much done. All right. Questions. I've covered a lot in 37 minutes. That is a fantastic question. The question is, let me get here. Do you have all the documentation needed to board a flight check-in? Oh, thank you, sir. So, yes, I do have everything set. So the great thing is anybody under the age of 16 does not need any form of ID to get on the airplane. Well, what's going to happen is we fly out on a Sunday. On a Saturday, I'm going to go to DFW, go to one of the checkout counters for American Airlines, and I'm going to get the boarding passes printed off ahead of time. And I'm going to ensure, because when we've flown Southwest, we just get a general boarding pass, and I just tell the flight attendants, hey, we're going to take the back of the airplane so everybody else can have the front and don't have to worry about anything. Can we board first? And they're like, absolutely. American Airlines doesn't do that, so I need to call in, and then I need to see and verify that we're going to be seated together, because I don't want any of your kids sitting next to some weirdo. And so I'll handle the weirdo. I've sat next to enough of them. But I want to ensure that all the kids that we have going do not have anyone sitting weird next to them, and we're all seated together. That way we don't lose track of anybody and everything goes accordingly. But what will happen is we'll go through security together. Kids under the age of 16 do not need anything for a form of identification. They'll have this wonderful, handy, dandy World Strides. Oh, it's not showing too well because I've got the weird background. Let me go ahead and change that so that way you guys can see this. Let me take the effects off. Come on. Where are we at? Come on. There we go. We're going to take that off. Okay, so this is what a lanyard that every person, adult, teacher, chaperones, and kids will be wearing. It's going to have their name that I will print in my best penmanship in the front. This is where you'll also see each one of these will be filled with your little food gift card, as well as a voucher that when we go to Faneuil Park or Hall for that. And they will wear this except for when they're in their hotel room. That's going to be the big thing right there. So everywhere we go, that's what they're going to be wearing as they do that. Actually, let's go back to that part. So hotels. If your kid decides not to want to sleep, that's okay with me. That's not my choice. The main thing we have to do is ask that your child or children that are going on a trip be respectful of others that are in the room, because if you have Johnny who wants to sleep, needs their 8 hours of sleep, then we have to be respectful of that as well. I don't mind if you guys are doing stuff, hanging out, but we have to be respectful of the people in your room, and we have to be respectful of the rooms around. If security guards have to get me in the middle of the night because you guys think you're Led Zeppelin, we're going to have a conversation and hope that that's the last conversation we have about that. Usually, my father's had a phrase for many, many years. He goes, if you're going to crawl with the snakes at night, you're going to learn to soar with the eagles in the morning. So if you're going to party all night, you better be happy and cheerful and not complain that you're tired in the morning, because I'm going to just say, suck it up, buttercup. So because you have the option to sleep. If you choose to use it, that's up to you. So that's where it comes back to that, be respectful. So we're going to be respectful of those around. We're going to be respectful of those in the room. If there's conflicts within rooms, we're going to ask that we talk to teacher chaperones, talk to myself. Please let us handle it. We're really good at this. I trust the teacher chaperones immensely. Traveled with them before. I've worked with them for years. They're great people. Trust me. They are problem solvers. We all are. So we keep things very well done. But we have to be mindful of those around, since we have 31 total people. I'm not expecting the parents to be rowdy. Usually we're the most tired ones, but my phone will be on all the time. I think last trip, I think I got a total of 5 hours of sleep, just because I wanted to make sure that if my phone went off, I was awake and ready to go to answer whatever could be concerned. That and the trip itself was so much fun that I couldn't sleep, but that's just me. So that is everything that we've got for this. Is there anything that we can put in the comments question-wise that I can help out and make sure everybody feels comfortable? Because the number one thing, everyone, is I want to make sure that you feel as comfortable with your kid as if my kid was going on a trip with another group. I want to feel that, like, my kid's going away, there's going to be no problems. They've answered everything. If there's a concern, I know exactly what to do. So if there's a question, please do not hesitate, because remember, you're trusting us with your kids a couple thousand miles away in an amazing location that's going to be so much fun. But some of these kids this is their first time traveling ever away from parents. We have folks that have never been on an airplane before. Y'all, we got you. This is a great time. This is going to be amazing. This is one of the most exciting trips I'm so ready to go on. And so June 2nd is going to come by so quick. When we get together on June 2nd at the wee early hours of the morning, this is where you're going to find your teacher chaperone, and I'm going to send that out, who the groups are with the teacher chaperone, so they can give you this. Do not lose this. This is the number one thing, okay? All right, we got another question. Love questions. All right, yes, I will be sending those. So once I get confirmation on everything like that, because since they have us in a group setting, they don't give me the confirmation number just yet, but as we get closer, they will confirm everything for me, and I'll send that out, because only the adults get this. I want my American Airline miles, y'all. I want to make sure I get all of that counted for. So I want you guys, if your parents that are going, I want you to get your miles as well. And so I will definitely make sure that gets out there. Okay. What are the questions we have? What can I help out with? I do it. Yep. That's what we want. Yes. So what other questions do we have, y'all? I'm here to help out. If you feel confident, oh, there we go. See, this is from Miss Kenyon. She says, testimony, my older son, who is a complete introvert, has benefited so much from going on these trips and experienced these things on his own without me. He has grown so much, I could not trust anyone more than this team that is handling these amazing adventures. Thank you, Miss Kenyon. Yes, Mitchell is a great kid. Love him. So We have put together great stuff. I work relentlessly. I love doing this for kids. This is a fantastic opportunity. If your child doesn't know anybody on the trip, I guarantee you by the end of the trip, they're going to have friends. I have had so many people come back and say, I have a new friend. This is my buddy. We're going to go hang out this week and do this. It's amazing. Even when we've had 80 people on the trip, they have friends. And the smallest I've done is, I think, 22, and they still come out with friends. So this is something that will literally stay with them for life. The fact that they're able to do certain things like this. And this is an opportunity that not a lot of places do. And so this is something that a kid gets to experience and truly gets to have fun that in a way that not many get to experience. So what other questions can I help with? Okay. So if you're a parent, yes, absolutely. If you're a student, no, 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 no. I would say if it's your child, yes, you as a parent can. If it's a child needing that, let me handle that. So that way we don't have any causing concerns or anything, or another roommate get access to that. So yes, that's a fantastic question. So the question was about painkillers or fever or cold medicine. I can handle all those kind of things. I would feel more comfortable with me handling that than a kid hanging on to those. Usually kids with their own prescription medication, if you feel comfortable with them, you know your kid better than I do with certain prescription medication. I'm talking ADHD medication, ADD, just different things like that. But when it talks about painkillers and stuff like that, that's either you as a parent that's going, or I'll help out with that. Okay, but again, specific instructions on that one. What other questions? Man, I can't have done that good of a job. All right. Okay, so I'm going to stay on. If anybody was just too shy, like a student that doesn't want to ask a question, y'all can stay on. Again, I appreciate your time. I'm going to send the recording of this, because I did record this whole presentation. I'm going to send this out as a YouTube video, so that way it shortens the amount. And I'm also going to send the presentation slides in a PDF tomorrow as well. And so, because we only have 14 people on this, and we got 31 people going on the trip, so some people forgot. So that's okay. That's life. It gets busy and it's chaotic. And I know it's the end of the school year, and so many people are making so many different plans. But I appreciate everybody coming out and listening to me babble for now, 47 minutes. So thanks, y'all. I appreciate it. If you need anything, just please email me, stay on, however you need it. I'm here to help you guys out on this, okay? Awesome. Y'all, you will hear from me soon, and I cannot wait for this. I appreciate it, and thank you guys so much for trusting me with your kids, and Miss Briscoe and Miss Walton as well. All right. See you guys. Thank you, Miss Wilmer. We're going to have fun.